All right, so for quite a while now, I've been working on trying to figure out a way to get this whole thing going, and this is day one of trying to go live and see how that works. So I'm just going to kind of share my story here and kind of give you an idea of who I am, where I came from, how I got here, and ultimately sharing how I kind of overcame myself to be in this position I am right now. So my daughter was born in December 2013, and I'm sorry, December 2012, and in April of 2013, I decided to quit my job and follow the passion, follow my dream of using a camera to make a living. It was extremely challenging in the ways that I was giving up a lot of what I've learned now to be a false sense of security with a steady paycheck. But I made the leap. I didn't want, or I should say this, I wanted her to see me, if nothing else, try to follow my dream and try to make this whole thing happen. She was so little at the time. The first 5-6 years of starting my video production photography business was by far the biggest struggle. I had no idea what I was doing. All I had was a camera, my laptop, and a microphone. And I knew at the time that companies needed, if nothing else, a video for their website. When people visit their website, they could just press play and be able to get an idea of who the business owner was, what the business did, and kind of feel connected to the business. That was kind of my idea when I first set out to do this. I made some financial goals at the time. I made the goal of making $50,000 a year. Looking back now, I realized that was a huge, I really shot underneath the target there. I learned later, and I'll get into this another time, about how to attract the abundance and the money in your life, you got to aim really, really high to pull you to that goal versus setting out what people call realistic goals in the beginning. But anyway, I set out the goal of making $50,000 a year. I think I accomplished that goal within the first, 4 or 5 years, maybe 3 or 4 years. By the third or fourth year, I made that $50,000 mark. It still was not enough at all. So I found myself still in this very challenging position of doing what I loved, having clients, having more equipment now and all these things, but I was still struggling financially. It was also around this time, maybe a little bit, that I discovered The Secret, which was a documentary and book at the time that talked about gratitude. I began the process of a gratitude list, a daily gratitude list that I would go through mentally at times, or I would go through mentally every day. That helped a lot. I struggled at the $50,000 a year mark for another few years. And eventually got to the point in 2019 where I teamed up with my best friend, and I came together with an idea to start creating content for real estate agents, create like high-end cinematic shorts for high-end real estate listings. We quickly learned that real estate agents here in the Midwest had no interest in spending that amount of money on marketing and content. Then COVID hit. Obviously, that was a tough year for everybody. During COVID, I had a lot of time to reflect, a lot of time to be still and be paused like everyone else did. It was another big struggle. And then in, I think, late 2021, two things happened. The first one being I linked up with this guy who owned, at the time, a high-end luxury car maintenance shop, along with fabrication. They did a lot of fabricating and high-end maintenance on high-end cars like McLarens, Ferraris, BMWs, Porsches, that kind of stuff. That got me to a point of bringing in $5,000 a month, which was the most I'd ever made consistently at that time. Towards the end of 2021 into 2022, I also received a call from a guy we went to high school with, who asked if we did 360 degree product photography for the 360 spins you see on e-commerce sites like Amazon, where you can click on the still images, but then click on the 360 and spin the item to get a better look at it. I told him we did, even though we definitely did not. And then in the meantime, my business partner / best friend and I figured it out, and we got the equipment we needed. We also got a space we rented for 30 days, which is actually the space I'm in right now, which we obviously eventually took over, and now I've been here for 5 years. But we did the 360 spins. We got this space, and when we got this space, that's when things kind of really started to take off for us. I think it was a couple different factors. One, I had put in at the time, about 8 or 9 years into, about 8 years into this business, which, by the law of the 10,000 hour, 10-year rule by Malcolm Gladwell, I had almost reached that. So I'd had a lot of, I had a good name in the business. I had a lot of connections, and I did good work. So all these factors kind of added up to having this space. We rebranded from the previous name of Reason Why Productions. It became DTK Studios, which stands for Downtown Kirkwood Studios. That's the hometown I live in. And things started to take off. We quickly got to 6 figures. And then in 2023, my business partner decided that he no longer wanted to be a part of this for reasons that were very logical. He lived on the East Coast. He was dealing with his own personal stuff. That's not my story to tell. So we parted ways very amicably, it was very positive. It was not bad at all. And the last year and a half or so, 2 years have, for me, been a combination of 2 things. One, I have this 6-figure sustainable business. I have this 6-figure business that is great. And it is also, I'm also at this new threshold of needing to and wanting to get to the next level of financial freedom and income. And while having 6 figures is amazing, in this day and age, 6 figures only gets you so far. 6 figures is, in my experience, at least the 6-figure threshold I'm at, it just is barely enough to survive. I live in a pretty nice, affluent town. We do have some nice things. I say nice things. We both have a car. We have nice clothes. We have a nice rental house. We eat good food. There's a lot of love in our family, and all those things are amazing, which I am eternally and every day grateful for. And I also want to provide more for myself and my family. So here I am. I'm at this very interesting point in my life and my career where I accomplished a very big goal, worked my butt off to get here, and now it's time for the next phase. And I'm here to tell you this, that at every stage so far, in the first 13 years of owning a business, as well as the future, the biggest obstacle I've ever had to overcome, 110%, is myself. And I think a lot of people deal with this, whether they're aware of it or not. The, at times, mental struggle of realizing and knowing and owning that my thoughts and my actions are what determine the results and outcome in my life is both very empowering and also can feel very, disempowering. Can feel very, it's hard at times. It is a struggle at times. It's especially a struggle for me when I look at my bank account and it is not where I want it to be. And then I begin to live in this story or live in this reality that isn't the vision I see for myself and my family and my business. Having said that, I've learned so much in the last 13 years that I am very excited and very capable of helping and teaching others how to begin their process, not only with the logistics of starting a business, which is a lot of technical stuff that's pretty boring but has to be done. But I'm also able to give a lot of insight and guidance in the way of how to create a new way of thinking, create a new paradigm, the mental and emotional aspects of starting a business. Because when it comes down to it, it's one thing to have a great product. It's one thing to have your business set up and all the technical and legal and logistical aspects one has to have. But it's another thing to be in the right headspace or be aware of your thoughts that will ultimately dictate and be the reason why your business succeeds. And I'll even say this: you can have a great product, you can make a ton of money, but if your inner life and your inner self isn't fulfilled or on a path of fulfillment or on a path of healing, no amount of money, no successful business on the inside. So there's kind of two ways to look at this. The first one being, you can be fulfilled on the inside and have no money and still feel the struggle. You can have a ton of money and be empty on the inside and still feel the struggle. What I've learned to do is combine the two, and I've learned to be on a path of excuse me, be on a path of fulfillment and also make money. I need to get a drink. One second. And I'm excited because I have a curriculum now, an education platform that I'm almost done preparing to be able to share with you all, that teaches that. So the biggest thing I can say now when it comes to overcoming oneself or overcoming yourself is to become aware, self-aware. So many of us are, myself included, at times in the past, I wasn't even aware of my thoughts. I wasn't aware of how I was reacting to my thoughts. I wasn't aware of my physical body, the feelings it had. I wasn't aware of anything. I was so hyper-focused on all these things outside of myself that I thought, if I just could make enough money, then I'd feel better. If I could just have this, I'd feel better. If I could just find the right woman, I'd feel better. If I could just, anything, I was on this path of searching for answers externally. When I finally realized that in 2022, via plant medicine and some very cool spiritual practices, that searching and going back inward was where all the answers were. So I'm going to wrap this one up. I know I said a lot. This is the first time I've done this. I didn't really prepare. I'm just kind of going with the flow here and going with what my gut's telling me to do, which in and of itself sometimes is the answer. Trust yourself. Go with your gut. Go with the flow. Anytime we resist is when things get difficult. So there's a little tip, little cherry here is that if you feel like you're in a place of struggling, if you feel stuck, it's likely because you're going against what is. I always tell myself every day, trust what is. I'm grateful for what is. I trust that even though today, right now, in real life, I'm at one of my lowest points I've been in a very long time. It's not because I don't have things I need. It's not because I don't love myself. It's because I've learned, and again, another little cherry here is that on our path of growth, the hardest times come right before the breakthroughs. And trusting that truth and knowing that truth and being with what is, and what is a struggle for me right now, trusting that is the key. Trying to resist it and go against it and fight it and ignore it will only create more of it. So here I am today, putting myself out here on this YouTube live stream. Don't even know what the hell I'm doing. And trusting that the struggle I feel, the heartache I feel, the stress I feel is what is meant to be. And if I trust that and go with it and just keep moving forward, I will inevitably and very quickly get to the next level where I want to need to be. So I leave it with that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I look forward to to see what happens as it grows. My goal is to do this at least once a day. So this is day one. Thank you.